Terminator 2 Judgment Day has 3 versions of the film available to watch, and you've probably only seen the theatrical version. Maybe if you're lucky you've seen the special edition, but as Yoda once said,
there is another.
The ultimate cut, which is even longer than the special edition, which is already about 16 minutes longer than the theatrical cut, and also includes an alternate ending. So today we're going to talk about all 3 versions. Let's get into it. What can I say about Terminator 2 that hasn't been said already? I wanted to do this video because I think a lot of people just aren't really aware that this movie has different cuts. First, let's talk about everything that's added to the special edition. Now there's a few small changes that I'm not really going to mention because they don't really affect too much and usually they're only a few seconds long. But be sure to check out the moviecensorship.com article if you want to see every last detail. There is a link in the description below. The first change is during a scene with Sarah Connor at the hospital. 2 of the orderlies are trying to get her to take her pills. She refuses, and they punch her, kick her, and shock her with a stun gun. The scenes in the hospital here were already hard enough to watch, but when you see her going through more, like, personal abuse, it's pretty messed up. These people were supposed to be helping her, and then they end up forcing the medicine into her mouth and leaving. In my opinion, this is not the most consequential scene added by any means. Like I said, I think it really just shows that she's suffering a lot of abuse at the hands of these people. The next scene is actually pretty good. It's not necessarily a great scene, but it does add something, and we get to see Michael Biehn again. Sarah has like a vision or a dream of Kyle Reese coming to her.
He's all alone. You have to protect him.
I know.
They talk about John, with Reese confirming that she needs to get out of the hospital and help him. I don't mind this part, and I think it ties in nicely with the scene later.
There is no fate but what we make for ourselves.
Obviously, if you've seen this movie, whatever cut, you know that line from later in the film when Sarah carves "no fate" onto the picnic table. Reese leaves and she chases him down the hall through doors and into a park, outside, where, like in the theatrical cut, she watches an atomic bomb explode. This version's kind of like a teaser version to that one, though. The next change is an added bit with the T-1000. He steals a police car while everyone is distracted and putting out the truck fire he crashed. It's not bad, but again, this movie was already long, so I can see why they cut this. But I also, personally, just appreciate seeing any more of Robert Patrick's performance as the T-1000. This cut also unfortunately includes a scene I wish wasn't even filmed. The T-1000 exits the house after killing John's foster parents. He notices the dog Max, enters his cage, and kills him and reads the name of his caller. This is where he realizes he must have been talking to the T-800, who tricked him into revealing it was him, not his foster mom on the phone. So on one hand, I actually think this context is interesting, but ultimately unnecessary. And listen, this might just be me because I'm one of those people who's really disturbed by animal violence in movies. Not so much humans, and I understand, that's an odd take. But I know I'm not alone. Even this dog dying off screen in this movie bummed me out. Anyway, the next change is a pretty cool scene as well. John has been trying to teach the T-800 stuff, and to make this work better, they have to uninstall a software barrier in his skull. They open up his skull, Sarah pulls out the CPU, and when it's out, Sarah debates smashing it right away, but John ends up talking her out of it. She ultimately decides he's right and puts it back and, he powers up again. Again, this is something I can completely understand cutting out when your movie's already as long as it is. But I also think it's an interesting scene, because you get to see Sarah want to smash that thing as soon as it's out with a hammer. John stops her, and the dynamic that plays out between them here is actually kind of interesting. Like, specifically what he says to her.
I'm never supposed to be this great military leader. Maybe you should start listening to my leadership ideas once in a while.
I don't know, I like it. And perhaps the strangest additional scene, while they're stopped at the gas station, John tries to teach the T-800 to smile. He scans the face of a man laughing nearby and tries to replicate it with horrifying results. This scene has been the source of a lot of memes and fun, so for that it's worth checking out. And I don't hate it. I think it's funny in a creepy way, and that's kind of the gag, so I get it. I think tonally it just doesn't match this spot in the movie, That'd be really my only gripe with it. We also get a little bit more with Miles Dyson. His wife is outside and comes in to tell him to chill out and stop working constantly. It's a scene that serves 2 purposes, I think, which is to further humanize Dyson by showing him at home, and also further show the audience that he isn't a bad person. He's trying to help the world regardless of what he does end up setting in motion. In another short added scene, we see Sarah telling Enrique to get out of town to be safe. It's not too bad, but it is something that makes my mind wonder. Like, she really did just fuck up this guy's life. And she thinks it's worth it because she thinks she's saving the world, obviously. Shortly after, we get another bit with John and the T-800. John talks about his childhood being different than other kids. Then he asks if the Terminator is afraid of dying, and he explains that he isn't. He doesn't have emotions, and only needs to stay functional until the mission is complete. It's not a bad scene. It's kind of existential dialogue between a kid and a robot. John's talking to someone about his feelings for probably, one of the first times, and it's a fucking robot. Later on, an extended scene has John once again trying to explain why human life has value to the Terminator.
Maybe you don't care if you live or die, but everybody's not like that. We have feelings.
I don't hate this one. It's less than a minute, but again, it's showing more of this relationship between these two characters, and I can appreciate it for that. That's the foundation of this movie. We get about 30 more seconds of stuff with Sarah outside Dyson's house, sneaking up and watching him. It's cool footage, but ultimately it's not super important to the story. Then during the scene at Cyberdyne Systems, they destroy a bunch of stored data that's essentially pre-Skynet stuff. Miles asks the Terminator for the axe so he can smash the main CPU himself. This one I kind of have mixed feelings about. I don't love it or hate it. It fits kind of right in. It succeeds in increasing the runtime, and I suppose it shows us more of the internal redemption happening with Dyson, and I always liked his character, and how quickly he was to admit he was fucking up when they came to his house and showed him proof. So, I guess overall I consider it a positive. Another iconic bit in here that I've seen talked about online before is when the T-1000 is malfunctioning a bit. He touches a caution-striped railing and camouflages to it, getting stuck. His face is a little buggy, and his feet start mimicking the ground. These are just really cool effects, and I could do like a 20-hour video just talking about the amazing effects for this movie. So I won't ramble about it, but I do think it's a good reason to check this scene out. And that's really it for the special edition, and then we have the Ultimate Cut. This version is built on the special edition and includes one more deleted scene and an alternate ending. It's available as a secret hidden feature on the Ultimate Edition DVD. The added scene happens when the T-1000 enters John's foster parents' home after killing them and the dog. He goes into John's room, touching things and looking for any information. Doing research for this video was actually the first time I saw this clip, at least that I remember. He stops at a poster on the wall and rips it off. Behind it is a cardboard box with pictures and letters from Sarah, and this is how he learns that Sarah's at the hospital. Then we have the alternate ending. This ending sees Sarah in the park in the year 2027, sitting on a bench at a playground recording on the tape. She talks about the years that have passed and what happened when the date came and passed. She mentions what John is up to in 2027.
Here, on the battlefield of the Senate, his weapons are common sense and hope.
And her granddaughter comes up to her and runs back to John. The last sentence is a little different, but the sentiment is mostly the same.
Because if a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
And you know what? I haven't really heard much about people's opinions about these different versions. So I'm interested to see what the comment section's going to be like. You guys will have to let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you.